to be, it looks pretty close to this, but this was, the concept that they came up with was much thinner. We had a hard time making everything fit in one board. So you guys probably, you don't know him, but there's an RF engineer up in Montreal named Robbie. And that guy has been pushing the envelope to try to make this stuff as small as possible and have the performance that we want.
Engineers are what they are. They can never do it unless you really push them hard, and then they find a way. But it takes time, and time is money. And
Should get him a word in.
yeah,
Well, he's like one of the rare ones that's an engineer that will actually take the product and try to make it, you know, fashionable and nice. You guys know him. And most of the other engineers, they just want to make it a black box so it's reliable and they have a nice spread between all the components and they don't have to worry about all these different challenges. And we had tons of challenges going through the design process for the RF, the FCC, making everything function as it should. So basically what we did, we went back to the drawing board and we tried to pull as many of these elements in this design forward into this. And then we also took all the market feedback that we got over the life of the product since it's been in the field.
Including battery performance?
Yes. So these are the 3 new remotes. I think some of you guys have seen them. You guys saw them rotating out here. So I think everyone did a great job in putting these things together, even though it took us longer than we wanted to. We would have rather been shipping this stuff in like July rather than.
Yeah, but it was worth the wait. I mean, once you see it.
Definitely worth the wait. So then this is the IBU, and I'll go ahead and start passing these around. I have one of each Viper and one of each Clifford. So throw the Clifford.
What's that, the bomb, like the one button?
We have. Not you or me, but.
So I put the remotes together with their old counterpart, so you guys can see the difference between the two. When you hold the new one in your hand, you have this vision in your head that looks pretty similar to what it looked like before. But when you see them side by side, you see the details in the old one and the details in the new one, you're like, holy crap, this is way different. Yeah.
And performance change, you're gonna share that with too? Performance like the
Yeah.
LED piece?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, there you go, my bad.
He was pissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just some details on the one-way companion. It has up to a half-mile range, just because it's SSD. We could have made it do a mile, but we wanted the battery life to be longer than 2 years, so people weren't having to change them every few months. So we made the range a little bit shorter.
I think it's good you did that though too, because at the same time on the 2-way, who would ever step up if they were both at a mile?
Correct. Well, also a one-way, you're not going to get a confirmation. If you're a mile away, likely you can't see
Right,
it,
yeah, you can't
so
see
you
it.
don't know what you did.
The Vipers did.
They're hot, aren't they?
Yeah.
notice
Wow,
something.
that's
The
totally different.
8mm thickness, the slice, CompuSource slice is not thinner than that.
Right.
Very nice.
So as I was saying before, we have visual and audible confirmation, so there's piezo in all of those. Our current one-way where you don't have any sound with it, it really bothers me. I mean, if you pay that much for a system, it should feel like it works.
What is this?
That's the antenna. I'll get to that in just a second. So 20% less components on this board than there were before. We made the buttons 20% larger. I took the function key and moved it to the side. It's the least used button. And then this button also, if it's accidentally pressed, it's not going to do anything else unless you press another button. You guys can see on the buttons when you push those, you have to push down. The way the case is designed, there's like a sort of like a hole, and then the button cover that's on the top has a plunger that goes through, so you actually can't make it go off in your pocket or anything, unless it's like you had a ground key or something that you hit it with.
Now, a couple questions, James. Well, one of the coolest things I think you did was move the function button to the side because of the fact that that's the button that everybody was always hitting and putting the car, I mean, the remote in cartoon mode.
Yeah.
It caused the most amount of comeback. But the other thing that I think was cool is that the other question I had was the buttons on the front. You know, a lot of women end up messing up the buttons on the
nails.
traditional remotes, exactly with the fingernails.
Yeah.
Now, how will these hold up though?
What do you mean, the coating and
Fingernails.
it's on the front?
Yeah, the coating part of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's silk screen and then it has that soft touch coating over the top of it, which is the same coating they put.
So the
on,
rubber
like,
buttons you think
these
will hold
cell phone
arm on it?
cases and everything. It's the same soft touch, so it's really durable.
Oh, it is durable,
Yeah.
okay, good, good.
So James, you know, one of the things I get hit with, I don't know about the other guys, is replacement shells.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So we'll have full replacements on all these. And as you can see, they're very simple in there. I didn't want to do it on the other ones because that LED case had like 6 components.
Well, they said too, once you got that thing apart, because some people
Yeah,
took it
it's like
apart,
a
there's no
jigsaw
way you
puzzle.
can get it back together.
And then when you take it apart, it's all snap. It
Yeah.
end up breaking stuff.
Yep, yep, that's what I heard.
So I didn't want to do it. I'd rather just have, on the old ones, I'd rather have dealers just send the stuff back.
Yeah.
And then we'll just replace it instead of having all this mess of parts
So
everywhere.
we'll have replacements for these.
So these, it's just a single screw. On the one way, it's just it pops. And we made a little notch so you wouldn't
Yeah.
booger the case trying to get it open right near the bottom where the true ring is, so it's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And then the two-way, they just have a single screw, pull that screw, pop that out, and run it back, and then the ring goes, the metal ring that's on it.
Excellent.
So we'll have cases for those, and we're also exploring a number of color cases, but I had a bunch of stuff to show you guys here, but we're having some problems with production, so. I
Should
don't
have shown it anyway, because it looked.
This is gonna freak out, this is gonna freak out some people. Antenna?
Yeah.
Downtown's amazing.
So the LCD, it also has the visual, audible, and vibrate confirmations. Almost half the components are gone inside this remote. Again, the buttons were made larger on the lock and unlock. Has the same keypad design as the one-way and the two-way LED. We went to a micro V USB, which is the same as what's used in Android phones, Kindles, whatever.
That was a good move.
And there's somebody asked before, is there gonna be like a little boot that covers that hole? And we're not gonna have it. I mean, most of the other electronics in the market don't have it, so not here. The 3-piece design case with just the metal ring. The buttons that are on the front, it's actually like a big sticker. You'll see the same thing on the LED. All the buttons, it's like a sticker that just goes on there.
Now, James, at the bottom, you have the second thinnest 1 mile range.
Yeah, it's the second thinnest. And when you guys compare these two together, this one's about half the thickness of what the old one was. And the reason that I say it's the second thinnest is because the LED is the thinnest 1 mile range remote ever made.
Okay.
So it's 8 millimeters thick. It's thinner than the Slice remote that they came out with, and it's a lot more range.
Yeah.
Almost 30% more range.
Yeah.
You got the Viper LC3 remote there?
Yep.
Right over there, see it.
So, what's that?
You said it was SST, 90 megahertz. Is it any different than the SST we currently have? Are these backward compatible?
Yeah, they're backward compatible. So
With SST, even the one-way?
yeah, so they're not compatible with the other SST antennas. So you have to have a new antenna, but they are compatible with all the main units. So the way it was designed, the protocol that happens, when you guys see, I didn't bring my keys up here, but the response time on these remotes is instantaneous. You hit the button, boom, it's like right away, and you can do it over and over again, and it never gets confused. The software engineer that did this, you know where Mike came from, JF? He's like a crazy mad scientist software engineer that did all the RF stuff.
Oh,
He's
I don't know
freaking
where-
nuts.
but-
He's nuts.
Not only that, he's tuned to what the customer wants. So when you talk to him about functionality, he says, you know, that's stupid. The customer won't do that. Other than some engineers will just go, like James says, big black box. You got to go 3 times around the building to program it. It's easy, but he's not like that. He's crazy, but he's efficient.
Yeah, so he looked at the old RF protocol, and what it did, everything was done serially. So this had to happen, then this, then this, then this, then this, and that's why it caused it to be slow. So he's doing multiple things at once. He's taking the unimportant things, the less priority, and doing those off to the side, and the priority things first, and running them in parallel. So the operation is just bam, instantly.
Battery life on these things, on the LC3 product, you know, the LCD type product.
The LCD is,
incredible.
yeah, it's a long time, and then the LED, we're projecting, I mean, worst case, it's a little over a year with the 1 mile range.
Wow.
So it's better than the other one was, and it's more than twice the range. I had another thing about it, I don't know what it was. So you guys remember back in 2008 when we launched the Responder LE? It was like huge, everybody wanted it, so shipped a bunch of it, and then everything started breaking. So we had, was losing programming and all this other stuff, and we skipped a lot of processes in the development phase. We didn't do a lot of the validation that we were supposed to do inside, and we didn't send it out to customers and get advanced feedback.
Mark Rutledge.
So we took 60 units, sent them out to 35 different customers that a bunch of the salespeople identified. We sent some to Canada, we sent some East Coast, West Coast, we sent some internationally, and everybody's been, I got about half the feedback, and more is coming in every day. And there's little nuances and things that they've mentioned, you know, because some people are way back, they go back to like really old legacy product, and it's just different. But most of the comments that came back are very positive. They said the cosmetics are perfect, you fixed all the issues that happened before. The range is amazing. The response time that I was just talking about is really quick. And then the UI that we put inside the remotes is exactly the same as it was before.
Right.
We've made huge changes to how the things operate, and it causes mass confusion for like 2 years. So the guys on the phone get beat up with calls saying, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? So we have to make a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So the UI, how it operates, is exactly the same as it was before. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed, and Mike, Susan and I were actually on the phone talking about it, was on the LCD product.
Yeah.
It's kind of confusing to get through the menus, you know, on
Yeah.
compared to like the color.
Not
As you
as
scroll,
yeah.
you can easily scroll through the other. Is there any way that we can make that a little bit simpler down the
We're
road?
kind of limited by the display, and
Are we? Okay.
I don't want to make it so simple that we want people to start to use Smart Start. You know, that's the best UI
Okay.
that we can possibly develop. And it's, I know some of it because you're doing levels.
Right,
Instead
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
describing.
Yep.
So there's ways that we could make it a little bit better, but I was afraid to change too much of it.
It's how you upsell into a color.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the color's the easiest one to
Talk about
use.
Range, effective range, what we did as far as the test here.
Oh, yeah. Well, the range that we did, I didn't say anything about that yet. The range test that we did here, we go down the road, and there's like a long shot. So line of sight, these guys are getting about 1.8 miles out of these two remotes. So it's line of sight once you have some obstructions. No, we don't, here is like really bad. This is like a whole.
That's what I want to know.
Well, it's hilly, and I don't know if there's something else going on here. Even
Blocking
your
it.
cell phone reception is not good. But we go over here to San Marcos. There's like a road, service road that goes right along the freeway, and then they park the car down at Discount, and they start marching this way.
And that just
Hitting it.
tells you that the 1 mile range is
Solid.
pretty effective.
Pretty effective, yeah.
It's not 1 mile in the best
The
condition.
more, the better.
So one of the negative feedback that we got was on the antenna. And the antenna, the way it was designed before, is that the whole base of this was clear. And then this part was black like this. And we were hoping that the light would shine out of the end of it well, but the board sits way back here because the antenna's taking up about a third of this space that's out here. And the LED just wouldn't transmit the light out. And you put it up on the window, and you're usually on that blackout part of, of the window, and
Rear
you just
window.
you barely get this little
It's
dim
actually
light.
very dull.
And our intent was to not have the LED shine inside the car. So all of our other IBUs, they have that big diffuser there, and the LED lights up the whole inside of the car every time it flashes. And we had comments from a lot of people saying it lights up the inside of the car. If I leave something in there, they
For
can
everybody
see it.
to see.
So, yeah, you can see it 'cause it lights up.
Like your
I know,
teeth
this
to
is
be
a,
efficient.
it's a debate. Yeah, it's a debate of whether you think they're gonna do it or not, just because if it's flashing, oh, I don't wanna touch that car, it's protected by
Yeah,
fiber.
that's what I would think.
But you can smash, people don't pay attention to the alarm sirens that much. And you can smash the window and grab something pretty quick and it look valuable in it. So our intent was to try to make this light go down the front of the windshield. So with what's the windshield, it won't go out so much, it'll reflect downward. So we changed this and made the bottom black. We routed the LED off the board up to the front and put a diffuser so it would shine outward. So it doesn't light up the inside of the car anymore, but it's very bright now with this
Oh, it is
change.
bright?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll pass this around too so you guys can see it. So everybody that responded saying they didn't like that, I sent them the updated mechanical drawing of how we rerouted the LED and put it out the front. One other thing to know about the way this RF system works is that the remote and that antenna, they're paired together, and then it learns to the brain. So before, if you had a bad antenna, you would just unplug it and put another one in there. The remote was paired with the brain, not with the antenna. Now they're all paired together.
The pairing took place in the brain before, now it's taking place in that device.
Both. It's taking place in both. It all happens at the same time. So if you have a bad antenna and you have to change it, if you just replace it, it still won't work. You have to go through the learn procedure.
Relearn the transmitter.
Yeah. And what I was talking about before with the RF protocol, how the remote works with the IBU, all that is different. But then once it gets to the IBU and goes to the brain, it's the same.
So if you have to replace remotes, you have to replace them.
No, you don't have to replace
Have
it.
to
Relearn.
You have to learn it all over again. If you you'll go through the same procedure to learn the remote in as you would have before, but if you change the antenna, you have to go through the remote learning procedure again, even if the remote's the same as the one that was attached before. So all that software that Mike, our software engineer, changed, it's all changed between the remote and the antenna. And then we have a little chip inside there, inside that antenna, that translates that new protocol back to the old protocol, so it's able to speak to the brain. And then it's backwards compatible.
Cables is the same?
Cables at the brain are the same. The cable at the antenna is a much smaller 6-pin, so it's different. That'll keep people from trying to plug the old one and the new one. Okay, as we went through this, we changed the product configuration of how we're gonna bundle all these one-way systems. And I'll give you a quick overview on our part numbering system because it's kind of weird. Well, before we had a part number and then we had some strange ass model number that went along with it. And everybody, I confused the hell out of me when I first got into the category. But we have the numbers on the front, in the middle, and the back all have a meaning. So a 3 in the front means it's a security system. The 4 means it's a remote start, and a 5 means it's a remote start and security. Right. Then the second number, that kind of dictates what kind of remote control is with it. So if it's a 1, it's just a regular supercode one-way. If it's a 2, it's a supercode two-way. That's what we called our LE before. That's why you had a 4204. And then 3 is used for some other stuff, mostly in the Avatal line. And then when we get to 6 is one-way SST. 7 is two-way LCD. So when you guys see the LED two-way, it's an 8. So it's weird that it goes above the LCD with the part numbering configuration, but we'd already used all the numbers prior. And we set up all those numbers. Nobody thought we'd ever make a 1 mile LED. So that's how that's set up. This product configuration, we've always had this issue with remotes, like replacement remotes were really expensive. If you bought, we've had this with RF kits. So if you bought 2 remotes and an IBU, they're almost as much as the whole system, including control module and everything. So if we took an RF kit and we made that price, nobody would buy it because it's so expensive. If we reduce the price, then nobody will buy the replacement remotes because they'll buy the RF kits and break them apart and use that. So we've always been stuck with this, how do we make this work? This is why we make the 4X08, part of the reason. And we make the 4X10 by the other reason for that is so consumers get it so they don't have to do all this A plus B plus C. But now that we've done that, I think that people understand that A plus B plus C plus some of our competitors are doing that. So we've had some interest in people wanting to do an a la carte type system. So we've sort of developed one here. That antenna that I passed around, it's two-way. We do not have a one-way antenna. So all these kits are bundled with a two-way antenna, means they're two-way ready. So you can just add a two-way remote to it without having to change anything.
Wow.
Awesome. So the way we bundled all the one-way is there's one remote, one one-way remote, the two-way antenna, and then the main control module. What's wrong?
No,
So you're saying one remote?
in
One remote.
In the words of the Virgin Mary, come again?
Yeah, there's gonna be. You remember back in the day, we used to have one remote in almost everything, right?
What?
Yeah.
So everything is coming?
No, just the one-way systems will have one remote in. That's it.
The one-ways. Just the one-way models.
Just the one-ways compact with a two-way antenna
With
ready to
one
run.
remote.
Right.
Two-way
And
antenna, one-way remote.
And
one
one
one-way
remote.
remote. Yeah. So what this will enable them to do is you can add the Smart Start. We've had a number of people that always want to have a remote with the Smart Start as a backup in case the phone's dead, in
That
case
makes
cell
sense.
service
On the one-way.
changes, whatever. Then we have the replacement remotes or the add-on remotes that you can just add to that system. And if you add those on there, it basically becomes what you would have seen before. So in the instance of a 4606, this would be the 4706. Today you know it as a 4704. You just apply that, add this remote to it. Or if you do this, it would have been, today it's the 4204, but now it's going to be the 4806.
So there's been a significant decrease in price then, right?
I'll get to the pricing in a minute. So
Yeah.
the way we did this,
Welcome to the East Coast.
okay, so before we had, if you looked at the difference between a one-way and an LED and a security system, or a remote start, or a hybrid, that difference, the price difference was always different between all of those. It made no sense. So we had the LCD remote start and the hybrid. There was only like a $20 difference between those systems. Then when you looked at the LED remote start and hybrid, there's like a $40 difference. And when you look at the security, there's like a $60 difference. Stupid. I have no idea why the pricing was like that. So the new logic, security remote start systems will be the same sheet price. So if I have a one-way security system, it'll be 105. A one-way remote start system will be 105. Okay. Then if we add security, if it's security remote start, it's just going to go up $50. So it'd be 155. Follow me?
That's logic.
Siren,
That makes sense.
sensor, and
And
the
it's-
logic circuitry.
Correct.
That's
So
truly logic.
It's a logical step. So then if I go from a one-way to a two-way LED, it'll be $65 more. So if you had a one-way, remote start to 105, you add 65 to it for the two-way, it'd be 170. Follow? And then you go from an
Security,
LED to an
220.
LCD, it's $40 more than the LED. So just the difference in
So does that add up
Information time.
kind of like to what the price is currently for the complete system, or?
Good question. You're Mr. Segway today.
I'm helping you out, James.
Okay.
We studied this.
So you guys saw before the one-way systems, and then you can add the remotes. So what we're gonna do is we have these set up as that one-way piece. So this would be 105 to the remote start. Then you add the LED to it, be 170. That's the same price as you would pay for it if you buy it in the bundle.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's how all of these are set up. It's the same price, and you can see these are pretty close to the price that you had before. You're gonna get some benefits on, like this one, I think it was $240 today. 220, something like that. So there's a little bit of savings in different places. The security systems, we're not gonna offer them in the bundles because the volume's pretty low. But here, we're not sure that everyone's gonna take rate on the that pseudo a la carte with the one remote and adding the remotes on, that everyone's gonna take it, so we're also gonna offer the bundles. So we'll offer it this way, you add the remotes, or you can buy it completely done.
So, okay, just to recap, the system comes with one-way transmitter,
The one-ways do.
and if you wanted, okay, the one-ways do.
Yeah.
And if you
Like-
wanted a 5606, or if you wanted a two-way, you're just adding the two-way transmitter?
You
Correct.
could, yeah, so you do 5606, and then you add this to it, it'll be that price. But you can buy this too, it has both remotes in it. It has the main remote and the companion, all packaged, just as you do today.
Okay. Okay, so realistic, because for us at Social Security, we don't dabble too much remote start. That 3606 is replacing the 3303V that's current, correct?
Yeah, so we don't have a 3103 today. We kept the 3102, we have a 3100, we have a
Yeah.
3105, we have all these other systems that are that.
Those are not being affected?
No, those are staying the
Okay,
same.
so back to my point. That 3606V is replacing 3303V.
It's not, it's a different, we don't have a one-way system that this is comparable to today. But the only way that I can make the 3203 equivalent and the
Armando?
3303 equivalent is to make this kit and have these remotes
That's what
available.
you.
Armando?
You're not letting me
Can't really-
finish.
A
You can't really see this
3606
right here,
plus
but in the-
a
on the
775060
I got it, I was getting
will
there,
equal
but you guys,
33.
I was working in the opposite direction. You guys
Yeah.
didn't let me finish, that's okay.
I see actually a decrease too in the price of the
Right, that's the point.
706.
The point is that 105 is great because now you're having a half-mile range one way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then the 5706, it went from the current price of 260-250 for the 5704 down to 260.
Yeah, and by looking at the remotes, I would think people would pay more.
You would think they would pay, exactly.
Yeah, I know they won't, but.
Well, it would make sense, you stock up on the 4606 and I just buy a bunch of remotes and then when the guy whatever he wants
Exactly,
to do.
you just pitch them on which
you
one
don't
you
have
wanna go
have
up to,
which
you
one
wanna
you
go
want
to
to
boxes, you
It's
wanna do.
awesome, man, honestly.
You know what, Al, this is gonna, we gotta get the Northeastern guys really in tune with this, because CompuStar is making headway up there.
Yeah.
Selling their a la carte logic as this, they've got people.
Pick your range is
Like
what they
hitting on
do,
the crack
yeah.
pipe, but it's
Yeah.
a la carte. I mean, these guys like.
They think they're so custom because of that.
Yeah, and, but if they like that benefit, we can serve.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all they throw
Good
in.
job on that.
So now with these RF kits, it's just a combination of the antenna and the remote that equals these prices right
With
here. So
companion.
everything, if you take this, subtract it from the main unit, whatever you do, everything's gonna work out. So if I take the RF kits, like here, I move the 120 off of this, it means a hybrid brain is worth $100. You
So
know,
you're doing an RXT, just
So I can take a
buy those
DBL
kits down there.
Yeah, just buy
2
these,
Pro.
put them in with the 4X10, buy the DBL 2 Pro.
Yeah.
That's what's-
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
exactly
Very-
where I went.
So in doing that, it kind of works with the pricing that all that works out to. So you save a little bit of money if you go with the DBL 2 Pro or the 4X10.
3303V is going away.
3303, yes.
It's gonna go away.
Yeah, and 3203.
But you don't have a half-mile LCD that you're gonna offer.
No, I'm not worrying about making
Now
a
that-
super
now that-
code version of that remote.
Now they're- now they're-
So-
The only thing you may have issues with in different international markets is 900 megahertz. We may not be able to ship that stuff there. In Europe, we can, it has to be a different frequency.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So James, you can take a DBL Pro 2.
Yes.
Which base price is $63, add it to the 9756.
Yeah.
That's DBL 2, not 2 Pro.
So I'll kind of go through the logic when I got that too. So
Right.
you
99
take
to
this
2 Pro.
120 and you take it off of the LED, you end up the remote start. You remove all the remotes and stuff based on how you can take this apart. The remote start version only would be about $50.
Okay.
So that's $50. If I add a DBL to that, that'd be at 109, right? So the DBL 2 Pro is going to be priced at 99.
99.
Yep.
So that makes
So-
sense.
So you're saving about $10 to go that way as a remote
Yep.
start. And then
Makes sense.
then if you wanted to do the hybrid, because the DBL DBL2 Pro will be,
Capable.
you can enable security features. And if you buy the relay pack, if you
Right.
buy the siren and the shock, then you get about to the same price as if
Yep.
when you take it
Complete
off
system,
here,
yeah.
it's $100.
Yeah.
So it all works out, you save 10,
DBL2
15
Pro,
bucks.
and the DBL2 Pro is the one that you can add the extra accessory
Yeah,
sensors
exactly,
to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
That's fine.
And you can do
And
smart start
and it has
RF.
2 inputs, right?
It does.
So you're working with JJ to create something.
Yeah, we have, the catalog was almost done here, some of the Smart Start stuff, but didn't allow it to get done, but the catalog is gonna be a pitch book for you guys. It'll go through, here's the 3 big things that we're changing, here's why, here's all the logic behind it, and the whole lineup.
Wow.
Are we gonna have like, could you make a sheet where you've got what the old piece would be, and then on the flip side, different ways that you can make that same piece with all the new stuff?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That'd be,
Did you guys see have you guys been to the Smart Start one yet?
No.
Oh, well, over there, they have a poster that's there, and it kinda goes through that logical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are just the SKUs that are changing. We're also changing the color, the HD. I'm gonna flip that to an 06, and I changed the cosmetics on the remotes to look more black like these are.
Were you able to make it thinner?
No,
Okay.
I didn't do anything to it.
Oh, you did?
No,
Okay,
we just
change
spent
the
all our
cosmetics.
time on these. These are the bread and butter SKUs. The HD does a fair
We
amount
don't
of
sell,
volume.
we don't sell a ton of them, I mean,
It's
we
a
do
fair
sell.
amount. I wanted to kill it, and Glenn freaked out on me, so. I think we'll let these run a little bit. This LCD may take some of the HD sales, but
Oh, I bet
I'm
it
not
will.
sure yet. And the LED is gonna take some of the LCD
Yep.
sales.
Mhm.
for a while.
Well, yeah, no.
So this is how everything changes here. It is only Viper and Clifford that has these new remotes in them for the brands, these brands. There's also an implementation of the LCD and AutoStart.
To be honest, I'm glad you left the Python the way they are, because we, primarily sell that through distribution now. So there
Yeah.
is reason to step up now to the, these other.
Well, we wanna give you guys, we were talking a little bit yesterday about trying to go more direct. So we wanna have offerings in these lines that we use as direct
That are different.
direct
exactly.
lines from the distribution line to entice
Totally is
customers to come over and buy directly from us,
Yeah.
and then leave a little bit of the older technology going through distribution.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
We sold them all.
So launch plan,
Down the
I don't,
road.
Glenn kinda hinted to
No,
this
no, I'm
yesterday,
saying
we were
down
gonna
the
talk a
road.
little bit through that 1 to 4 PM timeframe.
Excuse it.
Huh?
Talking over here, but yeah.
So, we wanted to talk a little bit about this. The current SKUs, we should have enough inventory that we have a decent amount of overlap between the old and the new. We should have enough of the old stuff to carry us through November timeframe. The new ones will open for order in middle of September. They're gonna be here middle of October. This causes a little bit of a problem, because we have Q3 sales that everyone wants to get through, and we don't wanna have these customers that are on the fence. I'm not gonna buy too much of the old stuff, because I wanna wait for the new stuff. So we gotta figure out a way to where we can get our cake and eat it too. Get them to buy the old stuff, and if you don't tell them about the new stuff and they buy all the old stuff, they're gonna be pissed at you.
I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver, and the way, because for us, it's key, Mike, our region, I mean, we have to get that load in with folks right now.
Yeah.
I'd rather tell them it's coming, end of the year or whatever,
Right.
beginning of next year, and then, hey, guess what, it came. Yeah, exactly.
Spring, I'll tell you what, give me a big buy, and if we got an early shipment coming in, I'll hook you up.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
some to go based on our history, it's likely that we show up in spring.
Right,
Oh,
right.
shit.
Man, that was a low blow.
But it's so.
I think your territory just got marked as a big red
already,
We're not
man.
looking at allocating
There's lots of
these.
typhoons in Asia right now. There could be all kinds of problems.
No, I'd rather say that it's coming, we could actually say that it's coming end of the year, right before CES.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to slow down any of my business right now at all.
But it sounds like James got a plan for that, let's hear what he got to say.
I don't have a plan, so we've talked about many things. Should we give an incentive to buy on the old stuff? If you do a model order for the new stuff, get more discounts on the current things to load up. If you take this, I don't know what the answer is. You got, customers are gonna be different. Some people won't want it yet. They want other people to test it first, which is why we did all the beta, and
Exactly.
we'll consolidate all their feedback, so you guys can use that as.
Can I just,
Yeah.
okay, so obviously, there's product plans already got product in the pipeline.
Say what?
Product planning already has
Yeah.
product coming
Yeah.
and delivered on the old stuff. We have inventory, and I'm sure there's more coming through it.
That stuff will last us through the middle of Q4.
Okay, you're out on certain things already, like for example, 5904X, they're gone.
Yeah.
So we need to get that. How are you gonna handle that? How we need to get that addressed? Are you gonna not bring the 5906?
No, I am. The 5906 is already coming.
Or the
So
X.
that issue happened because, the reason that it happened is because we did a promotion on it. And it had like really slow volume
Slow
before, and
volume.
we do a promotion and
Boom.
somebody took tonnage of it and ate it all up. Inventory planning needs to say, this is all you can sell because I need this much inventory to last me until my new one
They
comes.
usually do.
Yeah, we just screwed up, that's what happened with
Yeah,
that.
they usually
That's
do
the
that.
only SKU that we're out of.
So my question is
What?
anything that you come up with,
Yeah.
don't push me. I'm not in a rush to, I'm not in a
I thought
rush
you
to
locked
shoot my
up, man.
load. That's the problem, because that's why I am who I am. Listen, I just wanna know is, if you tell them not to bring in the new stuff, and
No,
we're
I
trying to
wasn't
drive
saying
numbers.
don't bring it in, what I was saying is.
Not
this
talk
is
about it?
Don't communicate.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
us,
that's not
in our
gonna
region.
happen.
Right,
it
under
could
promise and
definitely-
over deliver.
Yeah, exactly, and then all of a sudden we can say, guess what, you know, it came earlier than we expected, you know, and then
Hey,
we
and you're
get
one
those,
of our guys
those other
and,
orders.
They would hang right up on us. Some asshole called, said he was directed, said the shit came in early. Got the incredible.
They would not buy that.
They would buy
Before
that.
and everything is when you got it somewhere. So you're gonna know about it, so you gotta be careful with that too, right? The communication goes.
Yeah, and then I worry about guys.
We had
"Well, I want
scenarios-
the new stuff, I'll send this
We
back,
had,
I want that stuff."
we had scenarios with some of this conversion stuff, this rolling change stuff we did with Python, where all of a sudden, somebody was expecting the new SKU of Python, and they were
Right, right.
receiving
That's
the
what I
old.
don't wanna go
Oh,
through.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Would do
that's
that
why I'm
without
trying to
us
think
Well,
it
I
out.
like your idea though, James, about the incentive to, you know, hey, you know, give us a loading order now with the old stuff,
Yeah,
as long as you commit to doing a, you know, a load-in order for the, new,
yeah,
right? I mean,
that was the best idea
Yeah,
that,
probably,
We
yeah.
have to give them first dibs too.
that's why Glenn asked that question yesterday, he was kinda cloaking it, he didn't know what
It's
to
a
say.
big, yeah, the big risk comes running out of the old stuff before the new stuff's here.
Yeah,
Like to do too heavy.
There's a way to mitigate that, we have plenty of smart people here that can do that, Mikey, it's just when exactly do you pull the trigger on something like that?
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
you got a current program now,
well, we pull the trigger when we open it for order, so the only time we're gonna open it for order is when the stuff's on a boat and it's on its way.
Yeah, but then people won't buy it. Yeah, the moment you announce that it's already in the system to order, everybody's gonna start placing orders for the new stuff, and people won't buy the old stuff.
No, but then they'll do that, so when you do that model order.
Yeah, that's gonna happen in the middle of September, so you guys are gonna be running to try to close the quarter. So then you say, here, keep buying this old stuff, load up on this stuff, and then if you give me a model order on the new stuff, I'll give you more off this old stuff.
Oh,
On the CE side, if we ever had that where something was coming in early,
Yeah,
then, and we knew that it was kinda coming, we hadn't really told anybody, is the guys would find out, they'd wanna say, hey, I wanna take this back, have you guys ever explored a trailing credit on proof of performance, i.e. on sell-through?
trailing
Once-
credit.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you guys
Too
work,
much.
so I'm just
That's where they hang up on
asking.
you.
That's like, I'm just thinking, is-
Don't let this guy-
You can see he's gonna do something directed now.
Don't let this guy get a copy, start getting fucking.
No, the reason I
It's
ask
got a
is
credit
if-
card, man, too.
seriously, if you guys wanna get a big load-in order, and then some of these savvy guys go, well, yeah, I'll take a punch, and they kinda have an idea that maybe you guys had to do something new,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, hey, it's early, and they're like, well, you gotta take it back, or.
Yeah, trade me for the new stuff.
Right, trade me for the new stuff.
And that's
Why
what's
don't you
the
guys
risk.
just say, hey, what's your inventory? You able to sell this through, I'm not gonna mark it all down just to
Yeah.
mark it down, is I want you to push this stuff through your system before the new stuff loads in.
Sell-through.
So
Yeah.
it's sell-through based.
Well, it's kind of
And I know
effectively.
trailing credits are a big thing, but it's you say, it's gonna start here when, in January 1 or whatever,
Yeah.
you provide me what you sold and it's a one thing, not like a verbal.
So it's kind of what I was saying, if you commit to doing the new stuff when it comes in
Right.
October,
We'll help you
we'll
sell
give you
some
more
current stuff.
discounts on
Yeah.
the current
Right.
stuff to get you to load in, and that should help you push it through. And then as soon as the new stuff happens, then the map, you kind of go on map holiday for
Right.
the other stuff, so then they can do that push that you're talking about.
But if you're doing it up front, you're taking more of a discount. You're
Yeah.
discounting your goods that are before the new stuff's here.
Yeah, but
So
I
I'm
think,
just-
And there's no guarantee they'll promote it.
Right, and there's no guarantee.
yeah, I know.
If you
Well,
They
I
might
don't-
just take the,
Attached to it.
put it to their bottom line.
Yeah, that's
And
like.
not really use it.
But some of these guys, some of the dealers, I don't even know how we would be able to track that, or there's a number of dealers that we can totally do that, and some of them,
Right.
we were talking about the other day, that they're like on, they got old computers and whatever else.
Right.
You would say that.
Yeah, the guy has a Windows account.
Talking about pricing, I'm just thinking, you know, the old stuff is a little bit more expensive than the new stuff. So I can
As soon as people know about this, the old stuff will no longer be.
Well, that's right, but
They'll come and say, you can't sell it.
And not only that, is people are gonna buy it in
See?
September at
Yeah.
this price,
Don't worry,
and the
right.
new stuff
I got
at a lower
places I can move
price.
it to.
International.
Once
You
it's
guys
off,
know, don't you?
once it's old, man, I don't care where it shows up. Once it's not on the price sheet anymore, I don't care.
Wow. I put my order down.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're gonna get to an open session today, but if you guys can think about that and we get to this, we should talk about this.
Well, you said, you made the point that it's, the new stuff's gonna be at lower prices.
Mhm.
So, whenever you guys
It's just
announce
slightly,
that.
there's a couple of SKUs that are significantly lower, but they weren't the volume, the key SKUs are around the same.
And you said they're gonna say, hey, I want it, for that. Maybe it's when you roll out and say, hey, here's the announcement.
I'll lie about it.
You provide me what you got inventory in.
Yeah.
And I'll, make sure you meet that or a little bit lower on your current inventory, so you're not just taking the big load
Price
out
protect.
and discounting everything. Hey, we made an announcement, here's the price move, here's how we're gonna protect it. And you do a one-time.
What you do is you go in, you look at his inventory, and he'll give you this much marked down the money in your next order.
Just sells through return stuff. No,
You got a one way?
yeah, true. Help you sell through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
5806.
LCD.
Yeah, sells
Oh,
through.
5706.
Well,
Yeah,
when I-
it was on proof of sale. So they didn't just give them money. It was like,
You can't be blamed
you
for
mark
that.
these down.
Have that
I was
kid from
gonna-
your territory who's about to
I'll go
say-
back and look through the log.
No, just
Not giving you money.
So as we're developing this next gen,
On the shelf.
that's what we called it internally as next gen RF. We're trying to take the RF and start expanding it across lines so we get some consolidation of the designs that we can get economy of scale and save some money as we build these things. And as I told you, there's a lot less components, it's more efficient, all that stuff, so there is some cost savings for us to blow this through. So auto start, this is the first step in taking the same hardware. The board inside is exactly the same as what's in Viper. It's in a different case. It has an auto start behavior, so it functions. All the UI and everything is not like Viper. It's like auto start. So this is the first one. It's the only product that we put in is the LCD into auto start, and the reason is because that whole line just like flipped over a year and a half ago.
You know, the slim two-way LED, slim one-way.
So this is the first step, and then JF can take it from here, give you the rest of this, and then some updates on Astro and Auto and the other lines.
Yeah, this is gonna be a nice refreshing thing for AutoStart, the old LCD remote, which is still gonna go on this year, so we're gonna run those two in parallel. It's been out since 2005. For those who played around with the LCD remote, what we did is, like James says, it's the same guts, same antenna. You cannot interchange them with a Viper, even the antenna itself. It's a TW150, it's completely different. We went into implementing the software into it to mimic what the older LCD AutoStart was doing. So basically you got the menu system in there, color and everything, so everything is pretty much the same as it was before, so people are not getting lost into how to operate the remote. One thing that we were able to do, because we did have French and English as far as languages in their operating languages, is we introduced Spanish language in it. So with the scrolling text, which is 6 alphanumeric characters, you can actually read exactly what the menu system will give you. So scrolling text will give you 6 alphanumeric characters, the first word, and then it's switched to the second word. So it's really easy to read, it's really intuitive. It's not those acronym of 5, 6 characters meaning a word that's like 6, 7 characters long, right? It will replace, like I said, the LCD that we have currently into the analog system that we have currently. So anything that has to do with programmer, the PRG-1000 can still be used to program the unit itself. So we had before the analog system, the 2471 or 72 in the States. In the States it comes with 2 remote, in Canada it comes with 1 remote only, right? It's now 2481 or 2482 TWSS4 spread spectrum, as before it was FM, so it was TW-FM at this point. The 6880, which is the hybrid system or combo system as we call it in Canada, it was the old 6870 TW-FM. Now it's a 6880 TWS, and it's a full hybrid system, full car starter capability, full security system, still coming with the small miniature siren, still. As far as the other update, thinking AutoStart, we're thinking mostly distribution. You had a question? Okay, raising hand. Thinking distribution, so basically we have RF kit, those 3 RF kit right now. All you need is to add a DBL to it and the harness. You went to Peter's presentation on DBL and everything, all right? So when you think distribution, these guys will buy 500,000 DBL and will have it in stock to supply with their car starter demand. At the same time, if we put an RF kit with a DBL included in it, they say, well, I just bought 500 DBL, so why would I have a DBL in there? So what we do is more of an a la carte type of thing, where the distributor can actually put kits together if they want to, or sell the system as they are. So the RF kit, you got the one-way 1710, 2800 feet of range. Those are FM. AM unit. The XL202 is preloaded with the correct software to work with the RF systems. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to flash with the X-Halo or anything. All right. The next system up is the 2315, which is the slim LED that we have. You guys saw it last year. I got a piece from my own car in my bag if you want to see it. But it's really slim. It's like 9mm. It was the thinnest remote, LED remote. But now Viper's got the thinnest LED remote on the market. We say 3,500 feet of range, but it's actually advertised at 4,000 feet of range. All right. Again, the XL202 has its own software in it. You don't have to flash anything. And then you got the RFK 2800, which if you recognize the remote, it's actually the same as the Python remote. So it's an LC3 remote, and it will be replaced with the new LCD. It's going to be a system called an RFK 2805. Okay, when it's going to come out.
And these are start only then, right? I mean, that's the only way you can configure
These are RF kits.
Those are RF kits. So for your RSR and RXT solution,
434 megahertz.
DBL, DBL2, or DBL
434
Pro.
megahertz.
That's what I'm
right.
thinking, yes.
Mhm.
So now, when DBL Pro 2 comes out, then we can make these into complete hybrid type systems.
We'll get to
With directed wiring.
We'll get to the Express Start at this point. Okay.
The one on the right over here is SST. It's
Right.
actually
Yeah.
has, and that one behaves like a light.
James, is this the only remote transmitter we have that has Spanish Espanol inside of it?
Yeah, so we looked at adding this to the Viper product as well, but due to timing, because that Astro or AutoStart came after the development of the Viper software, so we may.
This could be
come back
big in
and
the
add-
city.
Dude, that's about
This is huge.
Big
This could
everywhere.
help us get that name
Yeah.
going there, because there's,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking
You know,
about.
I called on New York for a long time. There were dealers out there in Queens and Brooklyn and Bronx that there's one guy that speaks English in the whole shop, and everybody else.
And the only reason that they supported the AudioVox brand, per se, like I told you, was because it had it in,
They had
Spanish on the side
Spanish
of the box.
manuals.
Yeah,
They had
it was on the
manuals
side
in
of the box.
Spanish, which we didn't have.
Manuals and
Now-
small manuals on, so
now
they've
we-
done that historically.
And you remember that, Bill, from.
Yeah, now we've got manuals in Spanish and user interface, that's gonna be good.
That's big, yeah.
Remember something, this one doesn't have a Spanish, the next generation, the new.
Oh, 05.
The one.
Yeah,
Five.
signature.
The signature series.
Oh,
will have
okay.
it.
Don't I get $1,000? Call the city.
Oh, he's been talking a lot.
That's much money.
You can take it, take it.
I've been talking.
Thanks, sir.
All right, so, and we have to work on the Spanish documentation too, but at least the remote will be able to work in Spanish.
I think that could be, I know AutoStart hasn't been an easy brand to build a following for in the US. There's a hook right there.
Yeah.
There you go. Glad to hear that.
See, James is gonna have to get that.
On the Express Start series, you played around with the Express Start at CES, right? The way it programs and everything. AutoStart's gonna have its own kind of platform. It's the same platform, really. It's just interchangeable between the brands with the technology that we have. So it's gonna be called an ASD 600, which is actually a 5X10. 5X10 is the hybrid version. The 4X10 is the remote starter version. But we decided to go with 5X10 across the line for it. So it's just easier for replacement module and so on. So the 2650 is actually an FM unit. Those are the companion remote, two companion remote. It gives you 3,500 feet of range with all the benefits of the 5X10. It doesn't, none of these systems come with a siren or a shock sensor. It's something that you add on afterwards. So they are remote starter. If you want them to be a hybrid system, add a siren or a shock sensor and you're done. Okay?
They will have the relay pack in there?
They will have the relay pack and everything else, except the siren and the shock sensor.
Now, it says 2 years extended warranty, what do you mean?
Yeah, that's something to give it an edge to AutoStart because we know it's not a brand that's well known in the United States, and we have to fight with CompuStar in Canada. This is used at, this is actually a CompuStar killer in Canada. There's two brands in Canada that are really popular, AutoStart and Compu, and this is where they butt heads.
But wouldn't this product be lifetime warranty? Because of the fact that we have.
Well, remotes, we only warranty our remotes for a year.
Yeah, these remotes.
So, but we're pretty liberal on the warranty, so if it's on the price sheet, we usually replace it if it's sent by a
Right,
dealer.
exactly.
So they have like a dial, there's a Dayco dial in the back of the remote, right?
Yeah, it's actually year code dial.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
Okay. The reason is that again we're working a lot with distribution. Distribution could buy a system and then sell it in 6 months or 1 year. We don't want to bother with getting the invoice of the invoice of sales, getting into warranty. So it goes to the consumer, down to the retailer, down to the distributor, and down to us. And this invoice got to follow through, right? So what we say is we actually, beforehand we give 1 year warranty on the remote, but actually when you look at the dial itself, it actually gives you right from the start 2 years and a half. So basically shelf life and everything. So a retailer could actually apply the 1 year warranty straight on, but it's liberal. You can say, I'll pass it on for you, because he can know that he's got some leeway into that, and also the distributor too. So that's how we do it. So we're not, after 2 years and a half, we basically cut it off. And I can explain to you how the warranty works. A little bit more complicated, but it does work with a year clock on the remote itself. Okay? We're so confident into the two-way system that we're giving you a 2-year warranty on the remote. So that gives you actually 3.5 years when you think about the system the way we operate. Just to say, last year we had the slim two-way LED. And I'll tell you straight away, out of 15,000 units into one particular market, we had 36 of them coming back. I mean, that's less than 0.00%, so it's almost negligible. So we're so confident into it, 2 years warranty, and also the LC3, it's really reliable, also 2 years warranty on this. So to say, the AS2800 DTW is going to be changing to a 2805 with the new LCD remote, next gen RF, what we call it. And those system, obviously, this is the only one that can actually give you a feedback confirmation of an alarm condition. The other one, even though you got the 2700, which is a two-way LED, it's not made for feedback confirmation of the alarm system, but you can still add the alarm system to it. But then again, you put a smart start to it, and you got everything feedback, right? The AutoStart lineup itself, going really quickly, an overview on this. We can talk about it later on. You can download the manual, the catalog on the website too. The 1272, 2 remote, 2 button, 1774 SR gives you 1,800 feet of range. It's got a 5-button remote. Fully load. These are all manual, automatic, OEM alarm control, everything else on it. It's loaded. I won't go through all the details on it. The 1780 gives you about 3,000 feet of range. That's still an AM, slim, 9mm thick. The 2382 is your two-way LED. It does come with a package of 6 colored casing. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's on the website too, okay, with chrome on the side. 2472 is actually the old LCD, and as I said before, it's going to be running in parallel with the new LCD, which is the 2482 TWS. We expect to have in October, mid-October, to be able to ship. The 6280 is your full car starter slash alarm system, so your hybrid system, and the 6880, which is going to be running in parallel with the 6872, rechargeable with the new SSD remote. Yes, sir.
We have a few new sales folks in this group who've just joined us. Is there a logic or a pattern in any of the part numbers to help them understand?
Yeah, when you talk about the first digit, which is the 1, the 12, the 17, and the 1780, these are one-way car starter system. When you talk about the 23 and the 24, these are two-way, 2, all right? And when you talk about the 6000 series, you got the 6 on it, so that tells you it's a hybrid system. There's nothing about the last digit, which is a 1 button or 2 button or 4 button remote. This is gone since a long time, but that's basically the whole logic of it. It's really from an history of about more than 25 years, as you run pretty much out of numbers, right? But we try to keep the nomenclature pretty much the same. If you can see before when we had the this one, we kept it in the 2/6D for digital, and then you got digital two-way for it. So we tried to make it another way into not using old model number, which distributor might get confused because many years, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we had a 2600 model or something. So we got to be careful with that. So there's not really a logic to it, but there is at the
Yeah,
same time.
there's a little something you could tell. The AS, of course, is auto start, the TW, 2-way.
That's correct. So in that range, what I decided to do is 26 is the one-way, the 27 is a two-way LED, and then the 28 is a two-way LCD. So you're gonna go 2805 or probably 2705 and keep it going like this, right?
So in that lineup, the full lineup, you really, not the express truck, but in the actual lineup,
This one.
only the 6 Series is security with remote start.
Exactly.
The rest is just remote start.
Exactly. Yes.
And currently, your distribution in the US on this brand is somewhere between Canada and the Northeast area, and then
Midwest.
in the Midwest.
Midwest mostly.
Dakota,
Dakota, Minnesota,
It's more in that market than
Kansas, yes, all of the central region, which I think they're not as price sensitive and they want a lot of range. So AutoStart's always been known to a lot of range. Farmers land, right?
so is the goal to open up more distribution in the US with this brand?
Absolutely. The way we want to do distribution too is have protected territory. It's a brand that is known but not used a lot. I mean, AutoStart's like Kleenex brand, right? And one edge that we want to do to distribution, it's mostly distribution, is to have a secluded territory. So that way they know that they have this brand that hopefully you won't get some transshipping from another distributor into the territory. And we've been very careful with that.
There won't be as much price erosion either, you know, the
Correct.
distributors will be able to make money out of their own unique.
Exactly.
Marketplace,
Yes.
having to compete with others.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, that's why I said last, how do we compete against ComQ and all these guys? AutoStar is what we call ComQ. It's really at par as far as the feature and the value, and the price wise too, and also the range and everything else.
So am I to understand that the Viper brand, the Clipper brand is just not sold in Canada?
Yeah.
They are?
Yeah, Clifford we sell through Clarion, Canada. They're like, that brand's exclusive to them up there, I think.
Yep.
It seems like Viper is in Canada, what AutoStart is here.
Yep.
And AutoStart is in
Yes.
Canada, what Viper is.
You're
here.
absolutely right.
Exactly.
So like in Canada, that's the name.
Yep.
We go
They
with
Viper, what the hell is that?
No, they do sell it. I mean, Al is Al's
Don't quite say
territory.
it like that.
Well, no, it's not that, eh?
They don't, well, maybe like that, or they go,
They know.
like
Like
that.
that.
Like that. What is this?
Exactly.
It is upside down. It's just been put together. You know what? I was waiting for someone to. Did you pass this thing around?
No, we only rag on you guys because we like
Yeah,
you.
pass this around.
That's fine.
'Cause if we didn't like you, we wouldn't rag on you.
Yeah, I saw it. First on the
It's all love.
Makes us feel part of the team.
I was like, what's that trunk?
James Stern.
I saw the trunk. I was like,
What is this Google that keeps appearing on the screen?
So they are fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
Must really love
And the question is, do they have inventory in Vista? No, they don't have any inventory in Vista. We were thinking of bringing some inventory in Memphis.
I'm pushing for that because in our market, for instance, it's just in time, and if this is gonna be a distributor brand, their thought process was that if it's a distributor brand, the distributors are all big enough that they're gonna have the product sitting there. I think it's a little bit different, even our distributors now are going just in time, so I think we need to have a real test if it's gonna be accepted as a real,
I heard a lot that some folks out there are looking for a brand that's not a directed brand, right? So, and that's mostly in the Midwest region.
Well, the majority of our markets, I mean, like for instance, New York, I mean, it's such, people do business with the folks that are in their marketplace. we have pretty much every distributor in the market turned on with either, you know, Avatel and Python already. And we look at it as having an opportunity to go in and sell a brand that will be specific to that
Correct.
particular
So they're not all
distributor.
banging heads on the
Yes,
same
because
ground.
right now, it's,
Because so
everybody beats
dense.
everybody up.
As far as the production go, I gotta let you in on something internally, okay? And you can use that as a story. AutoStart, when we build stuff, we have 8 different brands in Canada, and we deal with Kensington Tire. We're a supplier for Kensington Tire, a supplier for Hyundai in Canada. Okay, so when you got Polish Start, you got Extreme, you've got all these brands, Command Start, we build Command Start.
They're
So
all private label versions of
they're all
AutoStart.
private label, but they all use the same module, you all use the same harness. It's really the same also remote, except it's not branded or it's got a different plastic on it depending on the volume that we do. So when an order comes in, okay, tomorrow, your distributor placed an order for 144 of that, right?
Build it as well.
They might be some built, because we do some forecasting, but they might be being able to build this week. Because AutoStart is a manufacturer. DI Canada has a manufacturer. There's actually
Assembly lines.
Assembly line, okay, so they take parts and put it together, and the sticker that you're gonna see on the module itself has a date on it. It's a production date. So I might sell you something right now that the production date is actually in June, okay? Or in September, I might sell you something that has just been out of the factory, and you're gonna get it the second week of September. It's actually been built on the first week of September.
Or built as you ordered.
Yeah, built as you order, depending. And sometimes what we do, even refurbished item, we just basically call it a different way. You know, if the customer says, you know, I want, let's say, a 1774, you got some older module, and you got some, okay, we can call it, let's say, a GS, or we did before LCD5, you know, a special deal for Black Friday, actually, for one of the customer, which is Vision.
Yep, I know.
So having inventory into a warehouse in the United States, it's something that is feasible, but as far as we're concerned, that's why we want, you know, for now, use distribution, or else we have large retailers that can, you know, forecast, and we can, you know, send in advance. So it takes about, you know, 6 days to deliver. In the East Coast, probably like 3 days, and you got the product. On the side of Astroflex, Astro is big in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, also in Al's
Southwest.
territory, basically in the Midwest, a lot in the United States. Astro, when you talk, there's 2 series. I won't go deeply in detail with it, but you got the RS and the RSS series. The RSS series, if you ever had a chance to take a unit in your hand, it's heavy. It's got tons and tons and tons of output. I mean, you got relay 4 relay on top of the regular relays, programmable for 14 different function outputs. You got a temperature sensor on board. You got resettable fuse on board. It's almost impossible to actually burn a unit. It's what I call over-engineered, okay? But nowadays with DBL, when you connect to it, DBL really does pretty much everything that the system does, right? So the system is quite expensive for what it has, but it's being less and less used. So, and the only system that is SmartStart compatible is the RSS series, and the RS series is not SmartStart compatible. Also manual automatic, you need an extra piece to add to it to be manual automatic. So what we do in the same line of taking the technology and spread it around the brand, we took the technology from AutoStart and we actually built a 615 remote, which is a one-way FM, but with all the flavor of Astro, and we got the 625TX, which is a two-way FM 3,500 feet. Okay. That's it. Pushing on the RF kit, we got now 5 different RF kits. Again, everything is preloaded in the XL202. You got the 1-button one-way, the 1-button two-way. Now the new 615, which is 3,500 feet range, 5-button FM, 2-way LED, and also the 2-way LCD, which will at the same time give you the OEM alarm notification on the remote. Okay, same thing as AutoStart. You just add a DBL to it and the correct harness kit, and you're all done. US only. Sorry, Al. Maybe next year. Yeah, we've got some RS systems that are now able to be SmartStart compatible, manual automatic. with all the features and goodies. We made the same system as actually the AutoStart, but using the Astro colored wire so that the Astro dealer is used to it. So we got a 615 XR, 625. And for those who's interested, maybe that could be something interesting for you. Your S655 is actually a 4704 rebranded Astro. It's used right now in Alaska only. You know the 4704, right? So it is the Astro version of
Now, can you
4704.
take that 655 and add your security module to it and make it a 5704?
No, not with this. Okay.
That's what I was trying to.
But if it's something that we can, this is something we can do. We need volume.
You know what I mean, right? I
You
mean,
know?
that's something
Yeah,
that can
absolutely.
be big.
Yes. But it's something that we need to plan it first.
Right, right.
And if you think that this can be done, then, you know, Mike Ellis actually came up to me in January, December. He says, I need something like that. So we were able to make it. He gave me some forecasts and everything. So we brought this thing in, especially for Alaska. James?
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.